It's August the 1st, picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has given away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up with the code MLB SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is the best AI picks and projections, and their football models are almost live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, what day is it? Tuesday, the 30th of July. We are here to live update the last hour of transfer deadline day, you would call it over here. The trade deadline in MLB closes in 51 minutes, which is exciting. And while we're at it, we will handicap 14 MLB games for Wednesday night. Joining me from somewhere in New York is Mr. Scott Reichel. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Keeping busy with tennis mostly. I know that we've had some Olympic basketball as well. Gonna have an episode with Lonte later today. Keeping busy though. I know that the trade deadline in most sports tends to be in the early afternoon, but it's at 6 p.m. So we still have an hour to go. A lot of pitchers being traded. The asking price for pitchers has been kind of wild today. But looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Yeah, I've made a note of some of the or the majority of the deadline moves, but there's nothing really we need to talk about at the top of the show. If there was a blockbuster, we'd get stuck into it now, but there isn't. So as we go through the card, we can make note of the players. It just tends to be the odd reliever, a couple of bums, just a little game of chess here and there. So nothing exciting. I've just watched Team GB thoroughly outswim the Americans to win gold there in the 200 meters breaststroke relay. Scott, US took silver. Did you see that?
No, but I saw the Americans won bronze in women's rugby, so that counts as something, doesn't it? But
Yeah, that was exciting.
yeah.
The equivalent of a 95-yard touchdown on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
Broke the hearts. Was it Australia or South Africa that beat?
It was Australia, I think.
Yeah, well done. That was good. So yeah, enjoyed watching that this afternoon. I've been to the driving range this evening, Scott. Me and Bob went to the driving range. I am still not very good at golf, turns out. Who would have thought it? So yeah, there you go. Who is in the chat? Gio was first in. Gio, how you doing? Max, go yard or go home? We're going home. Callum, stamping his loyalty card. How you doing, Max? Live on Tuesday, won some Austin Slater stuff. Two strikeouts against Justin Steele is what we're going for later on. This Wednesday card tomorrow, a little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, because there's a few pictures being moved around. We do have some TBD pitchers, notably Miami and the Blue Jays early on. It's the first 3 games that are off the board, and then we've got a nice run all the way through, which isn't too bad. A little bit of pitching news coming out of the New York Yankees as well. But we will start tomorrow. Firstly, after I've reminded you about the 32 NFL team previews, I listened to the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos today, and they're funny. I've been writing down the code words. If you get the bonus code word, submit the 32 code word phrase, you could be a lucky winner who gets $500 NFL Circa future. So subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts and the SGPN app. First game then. This is one that is off the board. Miami Marlins at the Tampa Bay Rays, 12:10 Eastern tomorrow. And Miami are TBD, probably, or certainly in part, due to the trading of Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers has gone. Where's Trevor Rogers gone? I forgot. Top of my head.
You went to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Norby and Stowers, actually. I don't mind Stowers. He's a decent name prospect. But yeah, left-handed pitcher Trevor Rogers is gone. So the Marlins are in a little bit of a state of flux here. So no pitcher for them. Taj Bradley is confirmed for the Tampa Bay Rays, but I got no odds. I got no nothing on this one, Scott. While Miami are trying to get their ducks in a row. Do you have much on this?
Well, it's kind of a weird spot because Tampa's record is fine, as they are currently 2 games over, but they traded the entire team. They traded away Rosarena, traded away Paredes, traded away the pitching staff. Eflin got traded, for example. So they've been making a lot of selling moves recently. I'm sure Yandy's going to get traded too. He has not been traded yet, but he's been linked to a bunch of different teams. So we'll see what happens there. First glance, under, because I don't know who's going to be threatening anybody offensively with these teams, because Miami traded away Jazz. They traded away Josh Bell, who's been in good form recently. He went to Arizona, I think. So I don't really trust either team offensively right now, and Bradley's been really, really good. So I think I'm gonna blindly back Bradley in the Trop, but I do think that Taj Bradley, maybe not this year, but next year, maybe some Cy Young love, because he's been really, really good for the last month and change. So I'll lean to Tampa. I'll lean to the under, but these two teams are basically waving the white flag on the season. Miami did when the season started, so I don't mind the under in this game as well.
Yeah, just looking at the potential Tampa Bay lineup for tonight's game, the Tuesday night game. You're looking at Caballero, DeLuca, Jackson catching. I don't know who that is. I won't be ashamed to tell you. Mead, fair enough. Curtis Mead's got a little bit of ceiling. Richie Palacios, Rodfett, the other catcher, Siri. So, I mean, yeah, it is very much a cobbled together sort of bits and bobs lineup. So, yeah, nothing much on that one. The second game is a similar situation because MLB.com still have Yusei Kikuchi slated to pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, Yusei Kikuchi was traded to the Houston Astros. The Blue Jays will take on the Baltimore Orioles, who have Grayson Rodriguez pitching for the O's tomorrow. But following on from that Miami chat, then Baltimore obviously picked up Zach Eflin, who pitched last night for Baltimore. They've now added Trevor Rogers. I saw you tweeting earlier on, Scott, that you were slightly underwhelmed by how that's left Baltimore's rotation.
I think it's fun. Just going through the actual back end. Of course, Burns is very good. Rodriguez has been solid. I don't think he has much playoff experience, but he's fine, I guess. Number 2, you could argue, he's not really a number 2, but he's been solid this year. You have Eflin, who's been not great this year, and he got the win yesterday, but he gave up 10 hits in 6 innings, so it wasn't like he pitched that well. Kramer's been terrible, so I don't know if he's going to be in the rotation or not for the playoffs. And then they added in Rogers, who I think is better than his numbers suggest, especially lately, but I don't think he's been great by any means. So you have 3 guys to close out your rotation that you feel best case scenario average about. I don't think anybody's thrilled going, ooh, we got Zach Eflin for game 3. Like I don't think the Orioles fans are thrilled that that's the case. So I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel like the back end of that rotation isn't exactly the greatest.
I like Eflin. Eflin, the second half of last season, was kind of assuming SP1 status in Tampa. And I think Rogers, like you said, is better than his numbers suggest. Maybe I don't know how much player development Rogers has left in him, but we'll see if Baltimore can get it out. I mean, this game tomorrow, Rodriguez has been absolutely fine, but again, kind of quite happy not to have to handicap the Blue Jays because they are one of our psycho teams, Scott.
Well, they've been hitting the ball well lately, so I think I actually might lean to the over in this game. Rodriguez has been fine, but I can't ignore how good Toronto's been, especially Vlad. Vlad's been great for the last week or so, so I do think he's in line for a good showing. Rodriguez has been fine recently, not really going much length, though, so he might end up going 5 and change, but I do think that Toronto, if the money line is too big for Baltimore, we don't have lines, but if Toronto is going to not sell the entire team, I know they got rid of Turner, they got rid of Jansen, we'll see what they do moving forward. I think the offense might be undervalued here. I might not mind a Toronto team total over if you can get potentially a 3.5 or a pretty decent plus money 4.5. Toronto offensively has been fine, so I might back the hot hand.
Okay. The third game on the card tomorrow is a 12:35 Eastern first pitch between the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Phillies. Left-handed pitchers for both clubs. Nestor Cortez goes for the Pinstripes. For Philadelphia, it will be Christopher Sanchez. These pitchers have been listed all day, but the little bit of pitching news I alluded to earlier is probably what's kept this game off the board, and it is that Gerrit Cole has been scratched from the Tuesday game with a little bit of fatigue. But I don't see that affecting the starting matchups for this one tomorrow. Nestor Cortez, he's currently unbackable, I would say. I doubt there'll be many people here rushing to the window to get on Cortez. He had a 7.45 July ERA. The Yankees have lost 8 of his last 9 starts. In 6 of them, 6 of those 8 losses were on the run line. Would have covered a handicap. Sanchez been decent lately. In 11 games at home, he's got a 1.75 home ERA. And that was about as far as I had to go into that. I was quite happy to stop there and take Philadelphia, although we haven't seen any lines, Scott.
Yeah, so the thing is, you said it was because of fatigue that Cole ended up sitting. I'm not sure if they're going to trade Cortez or not. There have been some rumors the Yankees might try to move on and try to fix the rotation to some degree, and Cortez does seem like the odd man out. That could be what happens here. We'll see. Assuming Cortez does pitch against Sanchez in this game, I'll take the over in this matchup. The Yankees' offense has been great. They've scored 7+ runs in 4 straight as the offense finally got going. Chisholm's been solid so far, 2 home runs yesterday. One was against a position player, but still counts the same. Point is, I do think the Yankees' offense can get going. They killed Wheeler. Wheeler was in great form, and the Yankees scored 7 runs against him. So I do like the form this offense is in. Philly, though, has not been great offensively recently, but Cortez has been that bad on the road. I like the over in this game. I think you're going to see a lot of runs. The wind is blowing out in this game as well, roughly about 8.5 miles per hour to right center. So I don't mind some runs here. Give me the over.
If you're going to mention Jazz, Scott, can you refer to him as Team GB's Jazz Chisholm? To give him his
yes,
full...
born Bahamas, Team GB, Jazz Chisholm.
That's not how it works nowadays.
I'm
It's
just
a
saying
global,
that. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing in an extra
global
fact.
sport. I sent you that photograph of Jazz and his Team GB in those terrible uniforms. It looks like my mum made them and ironed on the stickers on the front. But yeah, Team GB's Jazz Chisholm. Right, from here on in, we've got plenty of lines, starting with a 2:10 Eastern first pitch. In fact, top of the page, 1:10 Eastern first pitch. Minnesota Twins at the New York Mets. Pablo Lopez for the Twins. Luis Severino for the Mets. This is a match on the books. It is -108 each of 2. And the total is sitting at 8, Scott.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to lean to the Mets in this one. Lopez has been pretty up and down so far this season. Recently, though, going through his actual starts, he has been in pretty decent form. Going through the last couple of starts for Lopez, 7 innings, 2 runs against the Tigers, 7 innings, 1 run against the Brewers, 5 innings, 2 runs against the White Sox. So he has been better lately, but he has been a lot worse on the road than he has been at home. Or actually, no, he's been better on the road slightly, but his ERA is still north of 4 in both. Severino's been fine this season, though, and the Mets did score, I think it was 15 runs in the opener. I just think the Mets right now are in better form. I do think that if I was going to lean to a total in this game, I would have leaned to the under in this one. That are probably my main play. I just think that both starters have been in pretty good form. 8, I think, might be a little bit high for me. I'll link to the under. First 5 under might be 4.5. I don't mind that. Give me a low-scoring start to this game.
I really struggled splitting these 2 teams. I was looking for angles in all over the place and eventually found a stat that led me to a pick at the end. Lopez, we got quite a big sample size on Lopez against the Mets from his time at the Marlins. He's 4-5 with a 5.54 ERA. He's still not totally trustworthy, but has been a little bit better lately in his last 3 starts. Severino, 3-game winning streak, 4-1, 288 at home. The teams just grade out very, very similar for me. But, and this is what split the tie, Lopez, well, you tell me, can I claim Lopez as a road favourite here in a pick'em? Lopez as a road favourite is 5-1. The Twins are 14-6 as a road favourite against right-handed pitching. And I do prefer the Minnesota bullpen as well. So really, they were the only things that split the tie. I'll take Minnesota here at -108. And just a little note on the New York Mets. Paul Blackburn, they have traded for which looks like a very shrewd piece of business to me, because he's quite a big name who's going under the radar because he's been injured. We talked in April, May time. I think I boldly stated that Paul Blackburn would be an Atlanta Brave by this time of the year, and I like this pickup from the Mets. That's a good arm, Scott.
I think it's a good arm. I think that he's still underrated. You said he's kind of a well-known name. If you listen to the show, he is. I don't think he's
Yeah.
a well-known name if you actually just watch baseball, because most people don't think about A's pitchers that are on the IL. But Blackburn was a very solid pitcher for Oakland at home, and now he's not there anymore. So now we'll see how he does on a contending team.
Underdog Fantasy has just launched Underdog Streaks. If you hit your first two pick'em entries, you can go streaking. You can get an 11-0 run, win 1,000 times your money. That's madness. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. Use specials and boosts on all your entries. Sign up with our code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MLB SGPN. And OddsJam is your one-stop shop for beating the sportsbooks. OddsJam uses millions of data points across every US and Canadian sportsbook to show you the best value plays for your money. The line shopping tool gives you the best price. Lots of sportsbooks as well. DraftKings, FanDuel, BetOnline, Bovada, Cut, loads of stuff on there. Help you find the arbs that you can pin down, the highest EV plays for fantasy. All sorts of good stuff. And a tool for finding sign-up bonuses as well if you're looking to open those new accounts. So if you're interested in trying out OddsJam, get a 7-day free trial using the link, which is oddsjam.com, promo code SGPN. That'll get you 35% off the first month of your subscription. Oddsjam.com, promo code SGPN.
By the way, we just had a new trade that happened.
Oh, hit me. What's
yeah,
happening?
So we talked about the Marlins already, but they traded away Brian De La Cruz. He's headed to Pittsburgh.
Okay. This is what I mean. That's kind of the exact kind of trade I said at the top of the show. You're like, yeah, okay. And do you know what? If no one had told me that had happened and I saw him on Pittsburgh tomorrow, I think I would have just assumed he'd always been on Pittsburgh. It's one of those. Yeah, there's a lot of them hanging around today. 2:10 Eastern is the Kansas City Royals at the Chicago White Sox. These two teams have just sent one player in true Moneyball style, tell him to stop getting dressed and walk to the other dugout. Paul de Jong has gone from the White Sox to the Royals, so he's walked across from one dugout to the other tonight. Tomorrow is Brady Singer for the Royals and Drew Thorpe for the White Sox. -180 Kansas City, +152 Chicago. Total is set at 8.5. Brady Singer, 2 7-inning scoreless appearances, resulting in 2 comfortable wins. His ERA on the year is now sitting at a nice 2.82. Drew Thorpe had been pitching well. He'd given up 5 runs in 4 starts, and then he only managed 2 outs against Seattle and gave up 8 last time out. Faced Kansas City on July the 21st, went 6 innings scoreless in a game that the Royals won 4-1. And doesn't that just look like the comparison in this game? I like the under. I think the total's too high. The White Sox on this historic run can't hit the ball. I don't mind the Royals on the run line. Obviously, the fact we're taking an under makes it a little bit skinnier, but that 4-1 is absolutely fine. Brady Singer is 2-0 on the run line as a road favourite, which he is in this spot. So, yeah, they'd be my leans here. Kansas City on the run line with an under 8.5.
Yeah, so I didn't mind Thorpe, and then I had the under in that Seattle game, and I lost in the first inning. So now I'm suddenly a bit sour on Thorpe. But I think he's not that bad, but the problem was he was in great form, and then Seattle killed him. But I do think that Kansas City is still the better team, obviously. The White Sox might be an all-time heat check by me. In the first month of the season, I said this team would lose 120 games. And I think they're on pace for exactly 120 losses. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the season, but this is an all-time bad team. Might be the worst team I've ever seen, and the Royals are still bettable at -1.5. they've lost. I mean, the White Sox have lost 15 straight. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it? We saw them have a decent performance against the Royals earlier in the series. Then Witt had a grand slam, and that perfectly summed up the entire White Sox season. I'll go with the Royals -1.5. Singer's been incredible, so I'll keep backing him. Thorpe has been fine for the most part, but after getting shelled the last start, I am kind of wondering how he's going to respond as a young pitcher. He might struggle. Maybe it'll carry over, maybe not. But the White Sox bullpen's still bad anyway. Give me the Royals -1.5.
I'm guessing we'll see Bobby Witt on the bench now for the majority of the second half of the season. Now Paul DeJong has moved across there from the White Sox. That should spell the end of Bobby Witt Jr.'s season. I am joking, just in case you think I'm a complete idiot. 2:10 Eastern first pitch is the Atlanta Braves against the Milwaukee Brewers. Left-handed pitcher Chris Sale for Atlanta, and Freddie Peralta goes for the Brewers. +115 home puppy. Milwaukee -134 Atlanta, total at 7.5. Scott,
I don't know if you heard, Mal. Did you hear the news?
what's happening now?
Atlanta got the band back together. They brought back Soler and they brought back Luke
Well,
Jackson. They got the band back together. They're having a nice reunion concert in 2024. We'll see how it goes. But I think I'm going to lean to Atlanta in this one. Sale, I still think is better than Peralta. Peralta's an absolute head case, just going back and forth on good starts, bad starts. You have no idea what you're going to be getting from him half the time. I know I faded him against Miami. That worked out very well, as Miami went over the team total of 2.5 in the first inning, and they won outright. But Peralta's not been good at home this season, and I think Sale's obviously the better pitcher. Atlanta's been better recently. I can't say that they've been amazing, but I do think that they are in line for a decent series here. Milwaukee's been kind of hovering, struggled against Miami. We saw Atlanta look pretty good in the last couple games against the Mets, but I don't trust Peralta. So give me the Braves at, in my opinion, a pretty affordable price.
Chris Sale was brilliant again last time against the Mets, and Atlanta still lost 3-2. And there's a few games in his recent game log where he goes off short prices, pitches well, and they don't win. So it's hard to take Sale. I mean, -134 is not a bad price. You very often can go off -160, -170. Atlanta straight up are 5-4 in his last 9. Therefore, when he's generally minus money or always minus money, he's going to be expensive to follow if he's only winning 5 out of 9. Peralta is mad. Not quite as sharp lately. I agree with you. 4.55 home ERA. It's hard to fade Sale, even if I don't want to back him though. But on the total, both pitchers are above 500 to the over. Sale is 9-8-1, and Peralta is 14-7. 666 record towards the over for Peralta. So I'm happy to take over. A low number as well, 7.5. Let's take the over on that one. Next, 2:15 Eastern Time. The Texas Rangers at the St. Louis Cardinals. Left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney for Texas. The Cardinals will throw Sonny Gray, relatively close on the books as well. Yeah, -112 for the Rangers, +104 the Cardinals. Total is settled at 9. Another minor trade here to talk about for Texas, Andrew Chafin. I like him because of what he looks like, effectively. I like his little curly hair and tash combo. So all for Chafin. Heaney's been doing okay. He's had a mid-3 ERA for 3 months in a row now. He's absolutely fine on the road. So you're kind of happy to trust him. Sonny Gray is struggling. He's given up loads of stuff lately.
Well, I do want to stop you there for a second because ESPN actually has somebody else listed. ESPN has somebody named McGreevy listed who's making his first ever start. So I don't know who's going to be starting for St. Louis.
Okay, let's have a little. See if I can update.
I can pull up
MLB.com. I would not trust even a little bit. Like I say, they've still got Yusei Kikuchi pitching for Toronto. Texas and St. Louis. Right, okay. So the Moneyballer still has Sonny Gray, but right, okay. Well, I'll throw out me Sonny Gray notes. Basically, I don't trust him. But my handicap comes down to Rangers 8-2-1 record against righties as a road favourite, which will be tomorrow if McGreevy's going. And I like that. However, they're not going to be -112. I wouldn't have thought against a rookie. They're going to be considerably shorter than that. I think there's a PGA player with the same name McGreevy, or was that McNeely possibly?
That's McNeely.
Anyway, yeah.
That's Maverick. Good
Okay,
first
then,
name, though.
It's an M. He's a double M. Max
Yeah.
Michael. Is it
No,
Max?
it's Maverick.
Maverick. Yeah, that was it. Oh, yeah. Half a point for double M. Okay, do you have much on this one, Scott?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean to Texas in this one. I still am a little bit confused what Texas is actually trying to do at the deadline because they traded away Lorenzen, and main reason why, because he was very cheap, and they wanted to flip him. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. They're probably going to trade off a couple of other guys. We'll see they're 3 games under, but they're only 3.5 out of the division. So they traded for Chafin, the reliever out of Detroit. So I guess they're now buying. Like, I don't really know what they're trying to do. They got swept against Toronto, did win the first game of the series against the Cardinals. Both teams are kind of just treading water at this point, so I don't really know what to make of both teams, but I'm going to lean to Heaney. Heaney was not amazing last time out, gave up 4 runs, but he was pretty solid before that. Gray's been a mess. McGreevy had an ERA over 4 in the minors this year, so I kind of trust Texas more. I'm going to lean Texas, but I might lean to the over in this game. Maybe Texas team total over, but I don't really trust whoever St. Louis is going to start in this game. So I'll lean to the Rangers.
3:40 Eastern first pitch. The Washington Nationals at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore for Washington. For the Diamondbacks, it is Zach Gallen. Plus 144 Washington. Minus 172. The Snakes total is at 8. Scott.
So I'm a bit on the fence on this one, too, because the Diamondbacks had a crazy win yesterday. They scored, I think it was 5 runs in the 9th inning. Gore has not been good lately at all. He has given up 4+ runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. Gallen's been better recently after kind of struggling coming off the IL, but Walker left the game early yesterday. So Walker's injured now. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the IL or not, but I got to at least mention it. They got Josh Bell, who probably will fill in at first base with Walker potentially being on the IL. We'll see how he does or if Walker will be able to play through it. I think I have to lean to Arizona minus 1.5 because Gore's been really bad. And I think that fading the pitcher that's been struggling has some value. Arizona offensively is still pretty solid. Even without Walker in the lineup, they can still get by. Marte's been great for the last couple weeks, so I think Marte can be in line for good showing here. But I really just don't trust Gore. So I think I'm going to lean to Arizona minus 1.5.
Yeah, 4 poor starts in a row for Gore, you're right. And Washington somehow have won 3 of them. Here's a question for you, Scott.
Yep.
Last 5 starts for Mackenzie Gore. What's the total runs in those 5 starts?
The total runs in both teams combined, or just the runs he's allowed? Okay, I got to think about this one. I'm going to say it's going to be a high number. I'm going to say 62.
Ooh, not high enough, mate. 70 is the answer.
Okay.
70 runs total, so 14 runs per game. Like I say, somehow 3 wins in there for Washington. Gallen has got 1 good start against the Cubs on July the 20th. That's about it, really. He's not striking out many batters, which to me indicates he's not fully on top of his game. There's lots of contrasting trends here. Everything was pointing in different directions. But the one place it did align was in the total. Both above 500 to the over. Just talked about Gore's numbers lately. And that's against right-handed and left-handed pitching, respectively, that either side will face here. So, yeah, I'll take the over 8. Looks like a fair bit. Just updating things for Tuesday night then, Scott. Will Warren is pitching for the Yankees in place of Gerrit Cole. I do not know who that is. Where did Frankie Montas end up? I saw he got traded yesterday. Now I can't remember where he went.
He went to Milwaukee.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, because he was due to pitch.
I wanted to correct something I said before. I said that Walker might end up on the IL. He was officially placed on the IL today. So Walker's going to be out for about a week.
Okay, fair enough. It's all happening. It's lots of moving parts this week across MLB. Rhythm are not flaky. Rhythm is rock solid. If you're using AI picks and props to get your bets in there, you're missing out if you're not using Rhythm. Predicted loads of winners for the 3M Open. The football models are about to drop as well. That's exciting. And you can even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Next up is a 4:10 Eastern first pitch between the Seattle Mariners and the Boston Red Sox. George Kirby for the Seattle Mariners, Brian Bello for the Red Sox, who are slight underdogs at home. Boston plus 106, Seattle minus 124. The total is high again for a second consecutive day. We're seeing a Seattle total of 9.5. Kirby's been excellent. He's 8-7 on the year with a 3.03 ERA. He gives up maximum 3 earned lately. He goes minimum 6 innings pitched, all the things you want. But that record, 8-7, tells you what Seattle are. Bello also quite consistent. He's given up 3 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts. Lots of runs in his games too, very similar to Mackenzie Gore. I found this really, really tricky. Again, contrasting trends. All the Kirby games go under, all the Bello games go over. But Boston and Bello, a really good record against righties. First 5 innings, they're running at 62%. So plus 106, I'm happy with that. I'll take a Boston first 5.
I think we're going to disagree here because I'm going to lean to Seattle in this one. Kirby, to go through his last 11 starts, 68 in the 3rd innings, a 1.84 ERA, and his FIP is 1.82. So there's no flukes at all. He's just been incredible for the last 2.5 months, basically. So I do like him in the spot. Seattle offensively has quietly been decent. They scored 7 runs in the first game of the series. It was in garbage time, but they still scored, so I'm still going to count it. But we saw Seattle's offense get going a bit against the White Sox, which is definitely the right team you want to face when your team can't score. But Seattle has actually scored at least 6 runs in 4 straight. So I do like the overall form of this offense, and with Kirby pitching, and with Boston's bullpen, which has been a mess for the last couple weeks at this point, I think Seattle can actually score. I think can get Kirby some run support. I think Kirby should pitch well. Give me Seattle in this one. I think Kirby's actually pretty cheap.
7:10 Eastern first pitch is the Chicago Cubs at the Cincinnati Reds. Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. Left-handed pitcher Nick Lodolo will go for the Reds, who are minus 156. Cubs plus 152. Total at 9, Scott.
This is a pretty annoying game for me because, of course, I want to fade Hendricks, but I really don't want to lay 150 and change with the Reds. Lodolo, though, we know is much better than Hendricks, so I understand why the line is priced the way it is. To go through Hendricks' last couple of starts, though, just for reference, he has been... he had 2 decent... He had 1 really good start against the Cardinals, 1 average start against the Diamondbacks, and he got absolutely destroyed against the Royals last time out. A fun fact, the Cubs have not scored a run in 3 of his last 4 starts. So he's getting no run support either. But I think I have to go with the Reds here. Hendricks in, of course, a very hitters-friendly ballpark with, let's just say, underwhelming swing and miss stuff should be a problem for him here. Lodolo is the opposite. He strikes out a lot of guys, and I do think the Cubs' offense is going to struggle. Lodolo has been worse, though, at home than on the road. But I don't mind the over, potentially. I think I am going to go with the Reds, though. I think Hendricks is in for a world of hurt here. I'll give me the Reds first 5 minus a half.
Yeah, I've got the Reds run line down as my pick, but when you gave me the odds earlier on, a minus 156, I think that's a lovely just outright play by itself, a little 1.5 play. You can fade Hendricks against a decent oppo with a decent pitcher in that at a friendly park. 1.5 play at minus 150. I'm happy with that. You're just occasionally hoping you get a good start from Hendricks. That's all you've got at the minute, is absolutely blind faith. His record, his ERA, his whip, his splits. There's nothing to recommend him at all. The one positive I found, if you want one, is he has made 2 appearances against the Reds this year, both out the bullpen. Total 4 1/3, scoreless. So, yeah, there you go. That's positive. Lodolo hasn't been brilliant. His ERA in July was over 5. It's hovering around 4 at home. But he's faced the Cubs twice this year. Gone 6 innings both times and won both. Cubs are 1-6 against lefties as an away dog. So, yeah, just a real problem with Hendricks on the mount here for the Cubs. I'll take Cincinnati on the run line. But if you want to play them outright at minus 156, I wouldn't put you off that even a little bit. 8:10 Eastern first pitch. Pittsburgh Pirates at the Houston Astros. Left-handed pitchers going for both here in Martin Perez for Pittsburgh and Framber Valdez for the Astros. Minus 210 Houston, shortest price of the night. Perez and the Pirates, good name for a band that. Plus 176. Total is sitting at 8. Martin Perez throws the odd good start, but they are primarily at home when he does. He has a 6.44 road ERA. Valdez is in excellent form. 6 1/3 scoreless last time with 10 punches against the Dodgers. Houston have won his last 6 starts and covered the run line in all of them. I was happy to stop handicapping at that point and take a Houston run line, Scott.
Yeah, I feel like this one's actually a bit trickier than it should be because I do think Valdez has been incredible. We saw him shut down the Dodgers last time out. Pittsburgh's made some moves, though. They got Dela Cruz, they got IKF, so they may be making some moves recently. I guess they're buying at the deadline for the first time in I don't know how long. I think Houston's probably going to win this game, but Hader scares the crap out of me closing these games as he gave up that bomb to Taylor yesterday, which I just can't stand him closing games. But I do like Valdez. I think Perez is going to be in trouble here. I do think I'm going to lean to Houston, probably dominating the early portion of this game. I don't mind Houston first 5 team total over. Maybe Houston first 5 run line. Maybe run line minus 1.5 in the first 5. But I'd rather fade Perez. I still am a little bit concerned about Houston's back end of the bullpen. But I do think that Pittsburgh's been feisty. I don't really trust the offense on a regular basis. But Valdez has been really good. And I think I have to back him in some capacity. So I'll fade Perez, who has an ERA, I think, north of 6 on the road. He has given up at least 5 runs in 3 of his last 4 starts. So I do think he's in line to struggle. Give me the Astros first 5, maybe minus 1.5. Let's be bold. Houston minus 1.5 in the first 5.
Okay. Do you think Hader might become the new Craig Kimbrell? Like you have to watch him closing a game sort of through your fingers.
I might. I think Kimbrell still walks a ton of guys. I don't think Hader's walk numbers are that high. But I think I'm trying to remember the actual stat. I think Hader's given up like 10 home runs in like 60 innings. I have to pull it up, but his home run per inning amount is absolutely insane. Let me just quickly pull that up for a second. Hader has thrown a total of 46 innings this year. He's given up 9 home runs. 9 home runs in 46 innings, which is not good at all. So just beware of home runs when he's pitching.
8:40 Eastern first pitch tomorrow. This is a nice pitching matchup. The LA Dodgers at the San Diego Padres. Left-handed pitcher Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Dylan Cease will go for the Padres. Close on the books, minus 102. The Dodgers, minus 116. The Padres, total here at 7.5. Kershaw made his pitching debut on the season against the Giants last time. Went okay, 4 innings, 2 earned runs. No reason to think he'll not be fine again tomorrow. Dylan Cease, who's coming off the no-hitter, which is kind of an instant fade spot. I think if you bet baseball, you have to fade them off the no-hitter. But in fact, it's not just the no-hitter. He's 32 consecutive innings scoreless now across his last 3 starts. And it really is kind of hard to fade, but I can't fade him. I want to take the Padres here. Dodgers 1-7 against righties on the road as a favourite here. I've got no problem with the Padres. I can't pick holes in them. I think they're a decent price. Minus 116. Cease has been that good, and I don't really hold the fading him off the no-hitter. I just don't want to, Scott.
I'm on the same page as you because I don't want to fade Cease either. And Kershaw's made 1 start. I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was okay. I do want to ask you, though, just one thing that kind of bothered me was San Diego was in great form. They looked very good against Baltimore. The offense was great. They had a day off on Monday. Does that bother you at all, like to ruin the mojo of the team? Or you don't think you just think if they're hot, that's just going to carry over?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Got no problem. I like the off day to get back home and get settled in and come out firing again. Yeah, I think it'll do them good.
I was just wondering because they were already in pretty good form in general. So I was wondering if you think that might cool them off. But I'm going to go with Cease. He's been great. Last 3 starts, no runs. He's given up 2 hits in his last 3 starts combined, which sounds almost impossible, but that's what he's done. So give me Cease. And I think Kershaw is still going to have to figure some stuff out. So I like San Diego.
The penultimate game on the card, unfortunately, is the 4th game here that is off the board. It is a 9:38 Eastern first pitch between the Colorado Rockies and the LA Angels. Left-handed pitcher Kyle Freeland is going for Colorado, but the Angels have nobody listed. I haven't seen anybody all day for the Angels, so that's about as far as we can go in this one. Other than to say, Kyle Freeland has been in excellent form, and I would suggest has been quite profitable to follow. I'm sure we took him last week. Let me just drag up his numbers. Did he win his start last week? No,
he got destroyed. He got destroyed by the Giants, but he was very good before.
Yeah,
that.
okay. Sorry, yeah, he's 4 wins in a row before that. So profit to be had in Freeland before that. Yeah, back-to-back starts against the Giants. First one was good, second one was bad, but hasn't faced the Angels. So I'm happy to trust him. But yeah, that's about all I've got on this one.
Yeah, I do think that for this one, I might lean to the Angels, but in reality, this might just be a go to a meeting game. I don't know why you'd want to bet on this game, like out of just everything there. I think you're looking at a spot where the Rockies are, of course, terrible on the road. The Angels, of course, are bad everywhere. Freeland, I did like. He was in pretty good form after coming off the IL, but then the Giants kind of got to him. And we know his roadie arrays over 9. So I'm not sold on him in the spot. The Angels, we don't know who's pitching. I don't think it matters who's pitching. I don't think Jared Weaver is going to walk through that door, so I don't think it really matters. I'll go with the over, I guess. But yeah, I think it might go to a meeting. I heard they have like hot coffee. They might have some donuts. You can talk about yourself for a bit. I don't want to bet on this game though, so I'll lean to the over.
Final game on the card is a 9:45 Eastern first pitch between the Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. We have Ross Stripling going for the Athletics. For the Giants, it is Logan Webb. Webb at home, always a short price. -196 this time round. Oakland +164. Total 7.5, Scott.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. Giants have been playing better baseball recently. They're such a streaky team that when they lose 5 in a row, they'll just win 5 of 6 the next week, and they'll just bounce back to about 500. They're the law of averages team. That's kind of what I noticed. But Oakland, I'm not sold on Stripling. I never have been, and the Giants should know him pretty well because he pitched for them last year. Not very well, I might add, but he pitched for them. I think Webb has not been in great form, but of course he's at home, which is always appealing. But Oakland, you could argue, has been decent offensively. So if you want to make an argument for the over, I don't hate it because I think Oakland might be able to contribute in this game. I'll link to the Giants -1.5, but I do think Oakland maybe can get to 3 in this game, assuming that Butler and company can keep hitting home runs. So I'll link to the over, but I'll link to the Giants in this one. We also have another trade, by the way, I wanted to mention, which is unrelated to this matchup. The Orioles acquired Eloy Jimenez from the White Sox.
Ah, yeah, okay. I've seen lots of articles today about which White Sox was getting traded, but most of them centered around Crochet and Robert. Eloy, yeah, don't mind that. We'll see. Just a bit more firepower for the Orioles again if they can get him going. This Oakland game, I didn't want to pick the Giants because Oakland's always dangerous. It feels like a little bit of a trap fading Oakland at prices like this. But I am happy to fade Stripling. So my pick was going to be a San Francisco Giants team total. Stripling's horrible on the road. I know you don't like him, Scott. 1-4 with a 6.12 ERA. He had one game back from the IL at the Angels last time, gave up 5 earned runs in that. Home web should be good enough, but I just don't want to risk that A's offense because they can occasionally make you look a little bit silly. So I'll take your San Francisco Giants team total. And, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we got 15 games in the book. Scott, can you pick us out a lock and a dog, please?
Sure. So for the lock on the show, the issue is there's so many matchups that might have pitching changes. So I'm trying to think of something I could go with that might be matchup proof. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go with the team that just traded away Eloy Jimenez. I'll take the fate of them once again. They've lost 15 straight. I'm sure Eloy is popping bottles of champagne before boarding the plane to Baltimore. I'll go with the Royals, -1.5. I see -120. I think that at the end of the day, Singer's been in great form. Thorpe, I did not mind, but he got killed the last start. They've lost 15 straight. You're getting -120 fading a team that's lost 15 straight, and Singer's been incredible. That's good enough for me. I'll give me Kansas City -1.5 as my lock for this matchup. For my dog, I'm kind of wondering what I want to go with here, because I might be tempted to go with Seattle, actually, -1.5. Like, I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to do it.
Boston, Scott, in that game.
I think I'm going to do it. Give me Seattle -1.5 at +120. Bayo's not been very good. He's been consistently underwhelming, and I do think that Seattle offensively has actually been decent lately. So maybe they'll score a couple runs against him. Kirby, though, for 2+ months, his ERA is 1.82. That's his FIP, 1.84 in general. He's been really good. I know Boston offensively can definitely, I'd say, take over a game at any time. I'll give Kirby faith. Give me Seattle -1.5 at +120.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit here. For my lock, I'm going to give out a one Virgin. It's just it's a little bit shorter than I would normally, but I was surprised at the prices. I was surprised at the price of Cincinnati to beat the Cubs on the money line -156. I thought that should or would be a little bit shorter, so I'm happy to take that as a look. Now, once upon a time, I tried to give out like one team on the money line as my lock, and the same team on the run line as my dog. And Munaf outlawed it because I was going to give out Cincinnati on the run line as my underdog, but I won't, and that doesn't leave me with very much. But I'll take the Brewers here, just because, like I say, Chris Sale with the Braves, they keep going off at prices like they are -134. Andy is 5-4 straight up in his last 9, which means there's a little bit of value on the team that's going to be plus money against them every time. So the Brewers aren't a terrible team. So I'll take Peralta and the Brewers at +114. And Scott, dingers. Who is going to hit one out tomorrow?
All right. So I do think. Do I want to assume that Cortez is pitching tomorrow? Because I really just want to take somebody on Philly and just take him deep. But I got to think of who I want to go with. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Other pitchers I want to fade. I mean, Perez might give up 17 home runs too, so Houston might be live.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that instead, actually. So I'm not sure who's pitching for the Yankees. I'll stay away from that game. I'm actually going to go with Bregman. Bregman has been very good lately. He was about a millimeter away from taking Skeens deep yesterday, but that ball went foul barely. I think Bregman's in good form. It's a lefty-righty matchup. I think bodes well for him. Give me Bregman in this one to go yard. Have a couple other news, I'd say things with the White Sox, by the way. Not really big news, but Banks, their reliever, ended up getting traded. So he has been moved to, I forgot where he got moved to, actually. I got to pull that up. And they announced they will not be trading Crochet. Crochet will be staying with the White Sox. So that's going to be the main news there. But where the hell did Tanner Banks get traded to? Sorry, just trying to pull that up. But that was the main news. Crochet will not be moved. Tanner Banks got moved to the Phillies.
Well, Crochet had put in that really odd extension playoff kind of clause that he wanted. That he said he wouldn't pitch for a team in the playoffs unless they agreed to an extension beforehand, which just seems a little bit odd in terms of things like clubhouse chemistry. I mean, you go to a team to qualify for the playoffs, and then you sit out. I didn't really get it. So maybe there's a bit more to that than meets the eye. Maybe I'm just not in full understanding of the situation. But yeah, once that news broke last week, the Crochet one always looked maybe a little bit wobbly for me.
I got big news. Big news.
Oh,
This is actually a trade worth a damn. Jack Flaherty. You want to guess where he went to?
Dodgers.
That is correct, because the Dodgers get everybody. Hey. So he's going to the Dodgers.
Yeah. Wow. So round about this time tomorrow, Munaf kind of broke the news that it looked like he was going to the Yankees. And we talked about that for a little while. But yeah, I saw the Dodgers. That wasn't a lucky guess. I'd read that about maybe 2 hours ago that the Dodgers were closely linked with him. Oh, interesting stuff there. Yeah, that's a great move. I'm pleased for Flaherty as well, because when I really started following baseball. He was one of the big up and coming things to watch, and it never really quite worked out for him. And then he has been written off, and he's come back really, really well. So yeah, pleased with him. My dinger tomorrow is I'm going to get one off Ross Stripling, and we're going to go with right then. Two options here. Top of this Giants lineup.
Just take Fitzgerald.
Helio
The guy homers every day. Just take Fitzgerald. He's got like what, 15 home runs in the last 2 weeks.
He was my second option. I've got the top two I would pick out here. I'll tell you who else jumps out. This same game, Daz Cameron jumps out an absolute mile, but off Logan Webb, I'm not really want to go with him. Tyler Fitzgerald would get the silver medal, but the gold, and therefore the selection, is going to go to Helio Ramos to hit one out for the Giants tomorrow. And Scott, we are done. Anything else? How's the US basketball? Have they played South Sudan yet? I'm interested in that game.
No, they play tomorrow. They beat Serbia comfortably. They play the second game tomorrow.
Yes, because me and Bob watched a little bit of Greece the other night with Giannis was playing. Is that correct? And they mounted a bit of a fight back late on. Greece, it was exciting, and they didn't quite claw back. Can't remember whoever they were playing now. But yeah, I didn't mind a little bit of the basketball. Football went okay today. Put a nice little double up on the Premier League Gambling Podcast YouTube short. We took Morocco and Argentina both to win at plus 175. So that landed. So we're going along nicely over there. Anything else, Scott, before we go?
Yeah, Team USA moving on in the under. They finally got through. They ended up beating Mali today. I think they ended up advancing. So that was pretty fun. So there you go. Team USA actually advanced in something soccer related. I know the women did too, but the women are actually good at soccer, so we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. Overall, how you liking the Olympics so far?
I've watched. It's a bit weird because I don't really like it, and I like to sit and complain about it. But
that's why I was asking, because you told me that you're not a big Olympics guy. That's why you said it was a hobby fest. That's what you called it.
It is a hobby fest. It's the Paris Hobby Festival. But I've watched absolutely everything, just because I'm a couch potato. I love sport at the end of the day. And I've watched, you name it. I watched the windsurfing. I watched the clay pigeon shooting today. I watched the fencing over the weekend. So yeah, I've watched all sorts of stuff. It's quite the people is what it's all about, I suppose. Without being too cantankerous about it, the stories of the people, because no one would sit and watch clay pigeon shooting on a Tuesday morning. But
now with that attitude, maybe not with that attitude. It's not bad. Turn to a drinking game.
Mate. Right.
Everything's more fun if you turn it to a drinking game. I watched badminton the other day. I had a great time.
I've asked Lonte and Munaf this in the last few days. What would your Olympic sport be if you could choose, if you could go and play something?
Oh, do I have to be good at it, or can I pick anything?
No, you can do what you want. You can come last.
I can come in last?
Yeah.
There's an easy cop-out answer. I'll go with sailing, because they do it in Tahiti.
The windsurfing today.
Yeah.
I saw in Tahiti. Yeah.
I don't even get to be in France. I'll just vacation in Tahiti for a couple days. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's a solid thing. To see the triathlon, they're now turning into a duathlon because the river's full of actual shit. The River Seine running through central Paris is so full of sewage. But they're just scrapping the swimming element. These people have trained for 4 years. Can't just take a third of the sport away. So that's going to be a duathlon, I think,
it's even
tomorrow.
worse. I heard they spent like 1.3 billion trying to fix the actual quality of the water, and that didn't do anything. They're skipping it anyway. So yeah, my answer is a cop-out answer. Give me Tahiti, because the water's clean, and you don't have to go to France, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Just watch out for sharks, mate. You'll be all right.
What was your answer?
Right. Okay. Back tomorrow night, myself, and I think it's Dylan, actually. There's only a little 5-game card, and we'll recap all the trades, see what's going on, see if that's affected some of the outright markets as well, maybe.
But I was asking you, though. I was asking you, which event would you want to be in?
I said I would like anything on a horse. I can see myself on a horse. Quite a noble. I'm quite a noble man. I think you can agree with that, Scott. So I can see myself on a noble beast. That cross country, all of that shit. Yeah, no problem. I can talk to the animals, Scott. Back tomorrow. Enjoy whatever it is you're watching. We will see you all down the road. Cheers.